when I was 21 years old, I had one real kind of like I had something I wanted to do since I was a kid, which was when I go to Disney World. In EPCOT Center, you can drink around the world in EPCOT Center, and I fucking wanted to do that so bad, and I just happened to be 21 and going to Disney World with my family, not my wife and kids, you know, like my mommy and daddy, and two younger brothers who are much younger than me. And then it's me at 21, and my mother never really drank, and my father had a problem, and so it's like... So like no one was gonna join me on this, but I was so gung-ho about like, oh fuck man, I'm gonna drink around the world, I'm gonna do that thing I've always wanted to do, it's gonna be fun. We get to EPCOT Center, we spend the entire day in EPCOT Center. It is now 5 p.m. The World Showcase in EPCOT Center, if you don't know, is just pavilions from around the world. It closes earlier than the rest of the park. It closes at 7 p.m. At 5 p.m., I decided to start my journey. If you don't know what Drink Around the World is, it's when you go to these pavilions, you get the specialty cocktail or drink of that country. So I started in Mexico, where everyone starts, because you go this way. Again, rules. You can start in Canada, but then my skin feels like it's on fire, and I don't want to do that. So I started in Mexico. I had a cabeza, or whatever they call beer. And I had me just a little beer, and oh man. What did I forget to tell you guys? Oh, that's right. It's August, and it's 95 degrees, and it's swampy. And this is what I look like. I am a thick little man, and I was like, all right, first stop, let's go. We got ourselves a beer. We're feeling good. We're feeling loose. I brought my younger brother along with me. He is, let me see, if I'm 21, he was 14 years old. He essentially was a living crutch, and I mean that because I was going to lean on him in a few moments. I get my little Spanish beer, Dos Equis. I drink that up. My brother's like, you want to go on the ride? I'm like, we don't have time. We have 2 hours to drink all these drinks around the world. Next up, we go to Norway. I get a Norwegian beer. What was it called? Fuck do I know. I was too busy getting prepared because as I'm drinking the second beer, I have a thought. This might not be the best idea. But then I have another thought. You wanted this. No one's making me do this. There's no one with a gun off. If you don't, I'm gonna blow your fucking brains off. It's my little brain up here has a gun to itself. Just like, if you don't fucking do this, Mickey Mouse will come down and he'll take his hat off and you'll just know it's a man. Ruin the illusion. After Norway is China, and the China Pavilion in Epcot's pretty cool. They always have like acrobats going off like in the center, so you're walking by, and they have beer, but I don't like the beer that they had on their offering. So I thought it would be fun to switch it up and get a plum wine. And that was my first mistake. You know what you shouldn't do is mix liquors, and you know what you shouldn't do? Mix liquors if you're gonna have 10 of them in the course of 2 hours. So I have a plum wine, and it is so sweet. It's so sweet, it doesn't taste like liquor, and I shoot it back just as fast as I can, so we can go right on to the next one. And that's when my brother holds me back and goes, we're gonna get food at some point, and I go, come on, next stop, let's go. We don't have time. Food was never part of the plan. We go next to the Safari Outpost, which was a truck wrapped into Dusiki, and that is all of Africa. That is all of Africa. I'm not even kidding you. There was a truck, and then some African artwork on it, and then Timon and Pumbaa meet and greet. And they're like, that's good for them. They got enough. They got enough. We got to make sure we get all the white countries in there. So I get a Safari beer, which the Safari beer, like all the beers are like different like beers from the country. But the African Outpost, it simply is just a Coors Light that they titled Safari beer. So, and I'm drinking it, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. So I'm like kind of sipping it, and my brother says to me, you know, you don't have to finish all of them. And I looked him in the eyes, and I just chugged it. Like, how? You're right. you're right. I don't have to finish them all, but I fucking know I have to because that's not part of the plan. You have to drink around the world. Next up, I go to Germany. In Germany, another cool pavilion. They got a big old beer hall. We go inside. I get a big stein. This is also the largest beer at the moment. It's fucking huge. My brother gets a pretzel, and then he accidentally bought a second one, so I had a pretzel. I don't know why he got a second pretzel, but he gave me the second pretzel. I bring the German beer. We go right on to Italy, because why are you putting Italy and Germany next to each other? They don't like each other. Remember World War II? There's things happen after. They don't talk no more. The trains, they don't run on time. Anyway, I go to Italy, and of course, what do I get in Italy? But they're not known for beer. They're known for red wine. I'm 21 at this point. I really never drank, which is another part of this. I don't think I ever really had red wine before, and I did not know it was going to be room temperature. And I drank it, and I was like, ooh. Thank God it's a cool 95 degrees outside. As I sip a red wine and everyone's looking at me just like, but that's supposed to go with a steak. You're not supposed to just drink the, yeah, no, I know. After my red wine, I realized I'm getting, I've passed drunk, and now I'm a little shit-faced. I'm getting a little sloppy. I'm getting a little stumbly. I'm getting dancy with the music. There's like a band playing. It could have been Smash Mouth, because they play there fucking all the time. If you don't know that, if you've ever wanted to see Smash Mouth live, but also go to Disney World, they're at EPCOT Center every Sunday, because it's all they have. They play a little bit of Shrek, and they go, we know it's not from one of you guys' movies, but that's what the kids want. We get to the American pavilion, because of course in America they have their own pavilion, so you know where you are. And I go there, and they have this, they don't have a ride, they have an experience called the American Experience, which is just a show where they kind of just, it's of course, as you know, Mark Twain and Benjamin Franklin telling you about what America did. And they skip over most of it. In 2016, Oprah Winfrey personally gave money to the pavilion so they can open a little part about Black history, but it's not part of the exhibit. It's you walk in the waiting area, and there's a little room that looks very depressing, and it's like, and you know you got to walk through it to just be like, I completely understand, I'm very sorry, but you know the Imagineers were like, oh fuck, how bad can we get? We got to bring up the slave trade, and then civil rights. There's no way we're gonna make this happy. There's no way. Oh boy, the South ain't gonna like this. I didn't go on the American Experience at this. I was getting a Sam Adams, because that is the most American of beers that they have there. And I'm getting a Sam Adams, and that is when I start to waver. I start to have that moment of like, I need to stop. I'm gonna shit my pants. I am going to fall down, and I'm gonna get kicked out of Disney World. And my brother agrees. But then the exit to the American Experience comes out, and the AC hits my face, and I look over, and an animatronic eagle is just singing there, just America. It's so bright and free. It's the country you're currently in. I don't remember the words. But I saw that animatronic eagle, I'm like, buddy, I fucking got you. I know exactly what you're saying. People died for my right to drink around the world in Epcot Center. Some dude went face down at Normandy, and his first thought was, I hope someday some fat faggot gets to get shit-faced in Epcot. Oh, I took this Nazi bullet just so that fat little boy can get happy. Ruin a family trip. Oh! Eileen! That's his wife. So I drink it down, and I get out, and I go to the next pavilion, which is Japan. And of course, in Japan, what am I going to get? Sake! I've never had sake before. And for years, I used to think sake tasted a little like vomit. Turns out, when I took the sake, I vomited in my mouth. And I put that together years later when I was at a sake bar with friends, and they were like, Pat, do you want some sake? I'm like, oh, I don't like sake. And I tried it. I'm like, oh, this is very delicious. It doesn't taste like vomit at all. Oh, I see what I did. The next pavilion is the only kind of like it's Morocco, which is I really hope they were gonna like follow like maybe Islamic law and not have any alcohol on the premises. No, they have something called the Oasis blend, which is just a Long Island iced tea. Just And do they have beer? Of course they did. But that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted the Oasis one because that one had a picture of Genie from Aladdin on it. You know, in Morocco where it takes place. And I got distracted by the cartoon character, so I got that drink. And that is when I start to black out. I'm browning out a bit here. I wake up and I am standing in France and I am looking at a man. And all the people who work the pavilion, you have to know, they're from the country that they are representing. So some poor little French student was standing there, and I'm trying to get a white wine, and I go, do you know Samuel Beckett wrote Waiting for Godot in France? Ouvy boobity fabasse, Uri. You know, from Moulin Rouge? And next thing I know, I wake up and I am in a phone booth in the UK. And I am just kind of like definitely using the phone booth to hold my body up. And then my brother bangs on the window and goes, Pat, are you okay? Do you want to keep going? And I'm just like, yeah. Let's keep going. I get out of the phone booth. I walk right into the bar. I order a Guinness. I walk out with the Guinness. My brother goes, I was trying to stop you. You already had your drink here. And I went, okay. And I put the Guinness down on the table and just walk away. That is a $15 drink. Easily. I don't want to do the math. But that's too much money for the day, right? That's too much money for the day. Next thing I know, I'm in the toilet. And I'm kind of coming in and out because kind of like standing in the toilet stall. Not vomiting, just taking a dump, you know, like just sitting on the toilet, you know, pretty all together in my opinion. Just kind of sitting there looking around, and I come to for a second. I'm just like, oh, that was good. I don't need to keep going. And then my brother knocked on the door and he just goes, hey, the pavilion's about to close. The Canada Pavilion is going to call last call. Do you want to go get your last beer in the World Showcase? And I think to myself, America. And I think back of that animatronic eagle, which, oh, hold on, there's no animatronic eagle. I imagined it. I completely imagined it. For years I would talk about this animatronic eagle and how it saved my life that day. And people would say, there's a picture of a bald eagle near the exit, and I'm like, nobody sang at me. And then they're like, no, he didn't. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he looked me in the eyes and said, Patrick, some guy died on Normandy for you. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. I get my last beer. It's a Moosehead, which is a beer I, to this day, love. It's a good Canadian beer. And then I took my first sip, and I kind of blink, and like a movie, it pans out, and here I am. In the pool of the hotel, just pissing, just pissing in the pool. You're like, oh, don't do that. It's Disney World. They do this all the time. They don't even care anymore. There's so many filters and shit. Every time you're in a public pool, it's just piss. So it's fine. It's mostly my piss. And the takeaway from this, outside of a ruined vacation, is at no point did anyone, as part of the Disney security team, see a drunk little boy bouncing around and think someone should stop him. If anything, they looked at him and like, that's Patriot right there. Like, look at him go bouncing around.